My son's first acting gig finally aired, so let's take you through the day of behind the scenes of how it was to work on his first ever gig, a Huggies commercial. Of course, he was already up when I came to his room. I think he knew it was a big day for him.
Good morning, man. What are you doing on the floor?
If you don't know from any of my previous videos, my son has a Montessori room, so his bed is on the floor, so he's able to get out of his bed and play around if he wants to for a little while. It helps him to discover his own independence and how to play by himself. And we always start the morning with reading 2 different books. This one's Dream Big Little One and The Very Hungry Caterpillar. I always let him pick out which book he wants to read first, and this morning he was feeling Dream Big Little One.
Which book you want to read? All right.
Then it was time for us to get started on breakfast because he has a big day ahead of him. We had egg bites with spinach and pears in it, as well as peanut butter toast, some candied yams that were like left over from the night before, and we had some fruit puree. And as he ate, we caught up on some of our letters with Elmo because I am all about getting him to read by the time he's 3 years old. And he finished with a pretty happy plate. Next, it was time for us to get in that tub, okay? We're not going on anybody's photo shoot, commercial, nothing, without washing our behinds. Now it's time for us to get that hair done. I honestly just did the same hairstyle he had for his self-tape, just put it in a couple rubber bands with little curls, and we were watching Gracie's Corner, okay? Whatever I got to do to get him to focus on that instead of what I'm doing behind him. And these are the products I normally use in his hair. I've also started using Blue Magic, which is going really well with helping his hair grow. I always start by putting water in his hair first, okay? I have a little black child, and their coils and curls need to be moisturized before you try to do any type of manipulation on their heads. Next, I go in with the Cantu and saturate his hair so we can get it good and moisturized. And after that, I go in with the oil to seal all that moisture in. And then I start with actually parting and putting his rubber bands in his hair. So this is how the process goes. Now, after all that hard work he put in, it was time for him to take a nap. His day started later on set because of child labor laws. You can only have kids for so long on set, and especially with him being a baby, you could really only have babies on set for so long, so he had an afternoon call time. After he woke up, we enjoyed some Miss Rachel, got him a good old bottle before we headed out so that he could be in a good mood and on a full tummy. Then it was time for us to hit the road, and my husband came with us to his first ever acting gig. So it was like a family affair, and they were all so nice to be able to allow at least one other person to be there with you if you had a child, which is great because you sometimes need somebody to balance off that energy with your baby if they start acting up a little bit. And everybody was so welcoming. I mean, they had the Huggies on deck, the wipes, the diapers. They were very accommodating. They had playpens with toys in there for the kids while they were on set waiting to go in. It was very much so catered towards the babies. And this being my first ever baby shoot, I was very surprised and pleasantly surprised at that. I loved it. And they also had craft services for the adults, but y'all, they had craft services just for the kids. Like, they had food and snacks, and it was crazy seeing this. It was wonderful. Then my baby had to go get his fitting, and afterwards his daddy played with him on the little mat. They had such a big play area inside for the babies to play around and have a little fun time before it was time to go on set, because if you know, when you go on set, a lot of times it's hurry up and wait. You sitting there and you waiting to go on set. You're not always right away getting there and you're going to go ahead and go and start filming. That's just not a reality. After a fresh diaper change, they were ready for us on set, and I had to take a couple pictures because I was just so proud of my baby. Look, I didn't have an acting job when I was 9 months, okay? And this is how the set looked. It was so wonderful. The whole concept was expensive shit, right? It was about whether the babies would be pooping and leak out of their Huggies diapers or not. It's all about Huggies being a great brand for blowouts. And I'll be honest with you, they are. I've used Huggies religiously and even before this, and they are a great brand. I've never gone wrong with a Huggie. Once we were on set, it was time to place all the babies in the areas that they wanted them to go in, and they let the mamas go on stage and kind of guide them around because, I mean, at the end of the day, these are babies. They're just here, you know, if they want to play with each other, together. They're all for it. But other than that, these are babies. They have no concept of what's really going on. They also have playpens in that area as well with toys, so that if they got overstimulated, you could take them away and just calm them down. It was honestly a whole new world for my baby because, like I said, this is his first ever acting gig. So he's never been around so many cameras and so many lights and so many people he's never met before and so many babies he's never seen because he also does not go to daycare. So for him, it was at times a little overstimulating, but they were very accommodating and he had an amazing time. Like, he had fun. He was excited to be there. He also was excited when I sung Miss Rachel. So that helped, the moments where he was like a little unsure, but they were so sweet to all the kids. We had a violinist come in and it was hilarious. I'm telling you, y'all got to watch this commercial. But my baby was enamored, okay? Clearly, I didn't take him to the orchestra or put him in orchestra because he loved the violinist. He even made some new friends on set. There's this beautiful little actress named Summer. Look, she's already a working actress, okay? So I can't wait to see what Miss Summer do next. But they started bonding on set, and I loved it. I think they are the most adorable little things I've ever seen. Like, look at these doggone babies. Like, oh my gosh. Like, when I watch baby commercials for diapers, I'm always like, oh, they're so cute. I wonder how they do it. And now I know how they do it. And although they're babies, there is still a lot of start and stop that happens on set. They try to make it quicker because, they be cutting into these children's nap times. And my son is going from 3 to 2 naps. And for him, he was getting overtired. As you can see, he was like, girl, wrap it up. I want to go to bed now. But overall, it was a 10 out of 10 experience. And he is even on the cover of the video that's on the Huggies site on YouTube. So go ahead and check out my baby. And by the end of the night, my buddy was ready to go to bed because he definitely missed out on the next nap. So until next time, this is the life of a working child actor that I have now. Y'all have a good one. Break all the legs out there in your baby's auditions.